Have you ever felt like you are fighting a war against yourself? You set a goal, you get excited, you've got a plan, and then out of nowhere, something inside you just slams on the brakes. It is one of the most maddening human experiences, for sure. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this so-called inner saboteur, and I think you're going to find out it might not be the enemy you think it is at all. Okay, let's get into it.
So here's the journey we're going to take. First, we'll get to know this inner saboteur. Then we'll unmask what's really driving it by looking at the brain's #1 job. We'll dig into where its programming actually comes from.
All right, first up, let's really talk about this feeling, this invisible enemy that seems to be living right inside our own heads. I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Why in the world do we procrastinate on the very things we say we want most? Why do we shy away from the exact opportunities we've worked so hard to create? It just doesn't make any logical sense. It feels like a glitch in the system. We're trying to hit the gas, but another part of us is stomping on the brake.
You know this pattern. We all do. You decide you're going to start that business, or finally get healthy, or learn that new language. The motivation is sky high at first, but when it's time to actually do the thing, suddenly you're deep cleaning the fridge, or scrolling for an hour, or you just feel completely exhausted. The key thing to get here is that this is not a failure of your willpower. It's a sign of a really deep, unconscious conflict going on inside.
So it's time to pull the mask off the saboteur. Because the force that's stopping you, it isn't evil. It's not trying to make you fail. It's actually trying to protect you. And to get why, we have to understand the brain's most basic, non-negotiable job.
Okay, this right here, this is the whole ball game. We like to think our brain is our partner in achieving happiness and success and fulfillment. It's not. Its core operating system was coded millions of years ago with one prime directive: keep you alive. That's it. And to your ancient brain, anything new, anything unknown, is a potential threat. So growth, change, evolving, they all fall into that unknown and dangerous category.
Just let that sink in for a second. Safety by any means necessary. That means it will generate anxiety, sudden fatigue, massive confusion, whatever it takes. The feelings that we label as self-sabotage are really just your brain's ancient and frankly overzealous security system going into full red alert, trying to drag you back from the danger of new territory.
And this is where the conflict really shows up. On one hand, you have your conscious self, your soul, whatever you want to call it. It craves development. It wants to evolve and experience new things. But on the other hand, your brain's mandate is the complete opposite. It wants safety, which it equates with familiarity and what it already knows. So every step you take towards your goal is a step away from the familiar, and your brain rings the alarm bell.
I love this analogy because it's perfect. The brain's reaction isn't logical or calculated. It's a primitive, automatic reflex. A hedgehog can't tell the difference between a predator trying to eat it and a kind hand trying to help it. It just curls up into a spiky ball. Your brain is the same way. It can't tell the difference between a truly life-threatening risk and the risk of asking for a raise. It just curls up, creating resistance, doubt, and delay.
So if our brain is just running this ancient safety program, where did it get its specific definitions of what's dangerous? I mean, why would it think being more successful or more visible is a threat? Well, the answer lies in the software we inherited.
Our brains don't start from a blank slate. It's almost like we download emotional software from our family system. Think about it. There's survival logic of our parents, our grandparents, their unresolved fears. It all gets passed down and becomes our own unconscious programming. So if your ancestors lived through scarcity, your brain might have learned the rule, money must be a hard struggle. So when an easy opportunity comes along, your brain sabotages it because hard struggle feels safer, more familiar. Or maybe they learned that being seen and heard led to criticism or punishment. Your brain will then instinctively create social anxiety to keep you safe in the shadows.
This is so important to understand. That feeling of "I just can't do this," it's often not even your voice. It's an echo of an ancestor's fear. It's a survival program that was useful for them, but it's completely outdated for your life today. It's not a personal failing. It's just legacy software running on modern hardware.
And right here, this is the hope. This is the turning point. Because of this amazing thing called neuroplasticity, our brain is not set in stone. It's more like clay or plasticine. We can consciously, intentionally create new neural pathways through new actions and new choices. We can literally teach our brain a new definition of safe.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now, let's get really practical and look at the how. How does this resistance actually show up in our day-to-day lives? Well, it often forces us into one of three very distinct roles.
When our brain senses the threat of a new challenge, it tends to default into one of two defensive positions. First, there's the child position. This is when we feel small, helpless, overwhelmed. It's the home of procrastination, blaming others, and saying, "I can't." Then there's the parent position. This is when we become judgmental, controlling, and critical, either of ourselves or of other people. It's a way to feel in control when we're actually scared. The only position of true power, though, is the adult position, seeing reality for what it is, taking responsibility, and choosing how we act.
So there it is. Self-sabotage is simply your brain yanking you out of that powerful adult position. And why? Because the adult takes action, even when things are uncertain. The adult is responsible. And to your survival-obsessed brain, that responsibility looks like a huge danger. It's so much safer to be a complaining child or a critical parent, because neither of them has to actually take that next scary evolutionary step.
So the big question, how do we get back to that strong, centered adult state when our brain is in full-on panic mode? Well, it's not about fighting it. It's not about more willpower.
I want you to imagine your life as a field of energy. You belong at the very center of it. You are the calm, stable nucleus from which all your decisions and actions should come. That's the adult position. When we get pulled into the child or parent role, we've been knocked off center. The goal is to consciously and deliberately return to our proper place.
So what happens when you start to practice this? What does life actually look like when you consistently choose to operate from your center, from that grounded adult position? Well, the entire way you experience life begins to change.
I mean, just look at the contrast here. Life in survival mode, which, let's be honest, is the default for most of us, it feels heavy. It's run by old fears. We're always reacting and on the defensive. So much energy is wasted just protecting the status quo. But life from the adult center, that's guided by your present choices, not old programming. It's proactive, it's creative. All that energy that was locked up in internal conflict is now free to be used for your evolution. Life just starts to feel lighter. You feel like you're in the flow instead of constantly fighting the current.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. Imagine that incredible, powerful drive for survival that your brain has. It's intense focus, but imagine all of that power aimed not at keeping you small and safe, but at supporting your growth and your evolution. What could you possibly create or build or become when the most powerful force inside of you is no longer your saboteur, but your strongest, most committed ally?